I know that it's been the style for the last few years for basic people to be made fun of for their love of PSL. That is the pumpkin spice latte. But I just got a delivery and I'm not sad about it. Join me as I experiment today in making my own pumpkin spice syrup because let's be real, this stuff is great, but also really expensive. Now, I am a longtime fan of the pumpkin spice latte, and when I mean long, I mean over 10 years long. Because while Starbucks is pretty much everywhere now, 10 years ago, and in fact, from 2006 and before in Indiana, that was not the case. Not only that, but I was fortunate enough to go to a university that had one of the only Starbucks on campus. Shout out to the Bulldogs. Anyway, prior to 2006, Starbucks was few and far between in Indiana where I grew up, and as a result, it was very exciting to be able to actually go to a real Starbucks. What I didn't know at the time was that Starbucks took over our own personal local coffee shop and all of its traffic. So that's kind of sad because I used to love that place as a teenager. So my personal experience of drinking Starbucks and becoming hideously addicted to the stuff was back in 2003, which just happened to be the fall of my freshman year. And it coincidentally was also the year that pumpkin spice lattes were first introduced. So this freshman Tara loved pumpkin spice lattes on a stupid level. I have been drinking this glorious sludge ever since, and I know it's super expensive. I've always known it's super expensive. And not only that, but I had no idea just what went into one of these. Now, here's the thing. The recipe has changed over the years. It used to be that pumpkin spice lattes had literally no pumpkin in them, and when they were first introduced, they were made out of mostly corn syrup, like many syrups that go in coffees are. But there was an outcry, and after that outcry, they changed their recipe. They don't sell the syrup itself, which I think is a huge oversight on their part, because think about how much money they could actually make by selling so much pumpkin spice syrup. I mean, I'd probably buy it all on my own, let's be real. The recipe is pretty closely guarded. They do sell an alternative, and before you get into the comments and furiously type to me that yes, they do sell a pumpkin spice syrup of some sort, it is not the same thing. You go ahead and try it. I did earlier this year just to see whether or not it was at all a suitable replacement for the actual pumpkin spice latte, and it's gross and acidic and not at all worth your time. But go ahead and try it, see if you like it. Anyway, for those of us who know better and have drunk enough of the stuff, it's not a replacement, but I did some research and I found out that you can find the actual pumpkin spice syrup if you look hard enough on eBay. Yes, in the weird part of the internet, people have a pumpkin spice racket going, and on the black market, you can buy giant tubs of what essentially they really do use in stores. I can only assume that these tubs of pumpkin spice syrup that are obviously from Starbucks themselves have been gotten under not the most legit of circumstances. So no, I'm not gonna be buying one of those. But here is why this is really important. On the label of the Starbucks pumpkin spice syrup, it of course has the Starbucks logo and all of the ingredients. Now, of course, proprietary information dictates that I have no idea how much of each ingredient is in there. Except by law, Starbucks has to put the list of ingredients in order by what they have the most of and what they have the least of, and everything in between, of course. So we know potentially how much of each item is in pumpkin spice syrup. And this is going to be very useful because I'm gonna develop my own. For each of these, I'm going to use roughly the same method. I have a pan here, and I'm going to put sweetened condensed milk in it to make essentially a spiced dulce de leche, which is basically just a caramel that is used in a lot of Latin American regions, and certainly up here in Chicago, as well as Indianapolis, for a number of very tasty treats and desserts. But because consistency is really important here, and we need to experiment with the process as well, we are going to use the pan method, which is also a little bit quicker, and that's great. A key ingredient to making this a beautiful orange color beyond just the pumpkin itself is the incorporation of annatto powder. It is smoky and spicy, and it just adds an extra little touch of taste and a lot of color to this recipe. So I highly recommend getting yourself some annatto, even if it means that you have to order it online. Now, while we wait for those attempts to bake, then let's go ahead and talk about the history of pumpkin pie spice, where all of this stuff got started. First things first, spices, of course, have been around for at least 30,000 years. So the spices that are incorporated into pumpkin pie spice predate even the most evangelical teachings by quite a way. That said, the pairing of all of these spices together into a blend that we call pumpkin spice or pumpkin pie spice really just got its start like so many other things in my videos. It was a 1950s marketing ploy by McCormick. Yes, you heard that right. Pumpkin pie spice was literally a product of a spice company trying to pawn off its wares to us, the consumers, in the 1950s, because we were, of course, on a mission that we didn't know about to improve our pumpkin pies, which already had all of those ingredients in it. It's just it wasn't a spice blend before then. While we've been using pumpkin spice in recipes as early as 1936, and certainly before then, just in various pairings and in various quantities, pumpkin pie spice or pumpkin spice as a blend is from the 50s and from McCormick. So you heard it here, folks, and I suggest you share this video with anybody who doesn't know that. What's very interesting, though, about the pumpkin spice latte in its current form is that it's almost brought everything back around full circle, in that they incorporate not just pumpkin, but also some other key ingredients besides spices that give pumpkin spice lattes their distinct flavor. In the original version of this video, I attempted 3 different types of pumpkin spice latte mix, if you want to call it that. Unfortunately, that footage isn't good enough to show you, as you can see here. So instead, I'm going to give you a little teaser of what the next video is going to be like. So in my next video, members of the Crafty Club voted for me to answer a few of your questions. And one of the first questions that pops up is Sarah Pem's, which is, what's your poison at Starbucks? Is that a PSL? And yes, Sarah, in the picture, it was a pumpkin spice latte, and in fact, I'm drinking one of my own pumpkin spice lattes right now, because you now know that I love me some pumpkin spice, and specifically pumpkin spice lattes. Now, a lot of you ask many different questions. Some of them could be whole videos on their own, but I cannot wait to answer a few of them in my next video. If you would like to help choose new videos for Old Fashioned AF, then you can do so by joining the Crafty Club. And you can look down in the description below to join the Crafty Club and help me decide the future of this channel on basically a monthly basis. It's pretty awesome. On October 31st, which of course is less than a week away now, I am going to be hosting a virtual Halloween party on our new Discord server. That's right, Old Fashioned AF is officially launching our new Discord server on October 31st after the kiddies go to bed, following a premiere video. So hopefully you will join me here on YouTube at 8 p.m. Central Time, and then direct you over to the Discord where we will have our little virtual party. See you there. This may not be my original footage of my taste test, but this is the first time that I have tasted it outside of that footage. So here we are again. And I have to tell you, while it's not a perfect pumpkin spice latte that you would find at Starbucks, it's pretty darn close. And the reason for that is the use of all the ingredients that are in the original mixture. So I'm going to be enjoying these pumpkin spice lattes for the rest of the season. And if you would like to make your own, then you can go to my website, oldfashionedaf.com, and you can look at, I feel like, the most accurate example of a pumpkin spice syrup that you can find outside of Starbucks itself.